I was asked if I still have this speech from General Haotian from China back in 2005, and I do. And unfortunately, I did not have a backup of that video, so I lost my channel because of, China Tube. So I have to do it again because this is important. So the secret speech of General Haotian. In 2005, the Epoch Times acquired a secret speech given by Defense Minister Haotian to high-level Communist Party cadres sometime before his retirement in 2003. Details given on Xi's speech coincide with previously unpublished de facto testimony from Sino-Russia military plans. And the speech follows: Comrades, I am very excited today because the large-scale online survey Sina.com that has done for us showed that our next generation is quite promising and our party's cause will be carried on. In answering the question, will you shoot at a woman, children, and prisoners of war, more than 80% of the respondents answered the affirmative, exceeding by far our expectations. Today I would like to focus on why we asked Sina.com to conduct this online survey among our people. My speech today is a sequel to my speech last time, during which I started with a discussion of the issue of the free islands, where I mentioned that 20 years of the idyllic theme of peace and development has come to an end, and concluded that the modernization under the saber is only an option for China's next phase. Also mentioned that we have a vital stake overseas. Today, I'll speak more specifically on those two issues. The central issue of this survey appeared to be whether one should shoot women, children, and prisoners of war, but its real significance goes far beyond that. Ostensibly, our intention is mainly to figure out what the Chinese people's attitude toward war is. If these future soldiers do not hesitate to kill even non-combatants, they naturally will doubtlessly be ready and ruthless in killing combatants. Therefore, the responses to the survey questions may reflect the general attitude people have towards war. Actually, however, this is not our genuine intention. The purpose of the CCP Central Committee in conducting this survey is to probe people's minds. We wanted to know if China's global development will necessitate massive death in enemy countries. Will our people endorse that scenario? Will they be for or against it? As everybody knows, the essence of Comrade Xiaoping's thinking is development in the hard truth. And Comrade Xintao has also pointed out repeatedly that empathically that development is our top priority, which should not be neglected for even a moment. But many comrades tend to understand development in its narrow sense, assuming it will be limited to only domestic development. The fact is, our development refers to the great revitalization of the Chinese nation, which of course is not limited to land we have now, but also includes the whole world. Why do I put it this way? Both Comrade Liu Huahin, one of the leaders of the old generation in our party, and Comrade He Xin, a young strategist of our party, has repeatedly stressed the theory regarding the shift to the center of the world civilization, our slogan of revitalizing China, has this way of thinking at its basis. You may look into the newspapers and magazines published in recent years and go online and do some research to find out who raised this slogan of national revitalization first. It was Comrade Haotian. Do you know who Haotian is? He may look aggressive and despicable when he speaks in public, with his sleeves and pants rolled up, but his historical vision is a treasure of our party should cherish. In discussing this issue, let us start from the beginning. As everybody knows, according to the views propagated by Western scholars, humanity as a whole originated from one single mother in Africa. Therefore, no race can claim racial superiority. However, according to the research conducted by most Chinese scholars, the Chinese are different from other races on Earth. Let me just interject here. In the beginning, God created mankind, not races. We will not originate in Africa. Instead, we originated independently in the land of China. The Peking man at Haotian that we are familiar with represents a phase of our ancestors' evolution. Well, this guy was actually a guy coming from up there, down here, and founded the nation of China and taught them all kinds of evil things. China was once a great nation, but not anymore. It's only great in power and suppression, but the original culture of China is gone. It vanished during Mao Zedong some 80 years ago, when the Red had their revolution, like the Russians had their revolution and installed communism in Russia, which later became Soviet Union. And we know what communism brings. Misery everywhere. So there's absolutely nothing good in it. So they got no right for anything except to be defeated in their own game. So the project of searching for the origins of the Chinese civilization currently undertaken in our country is aimed more at a comprehensive and systematic research on the origin, process and development of the ancient Chinese civilization. We used to say Chinese civilization has had a history of 5,000 years, but now many experts engaged in research in varied fields, including archaeology, ethnic cultures, and regional cultures, have reached consensus that the new discoveries such as the Haotian culture in the northeast and the Lijiang culture in the Zhejiang province and the Jinxia ruins in Sichuan province and the Yongshu Shun Emperor cultural site in Hunan province are all compelling evidence that the existence of China's early civilization, and they prove that China's rice-growing agricultural history alone can be tracked back as far as 8,000 to 10,000 years. This refutes the concept of 5,000 years of the Chinese civilization. Therefore, we can assert that we are the product of a cultural roots of more than 1,000,000 years and a single Chinese entity of 2,000 years. This is the Chinese entity of 2,000 years. This is the Chinese nation that calls itself descendants of the Xian and Huang, the Chinese nation that we now so proud of. Hitler's Germany had once bragged that the German race was the most superior race on earth, but the fact is our nation is far superior to the Germans. During our long history, our people has disseminated throughout the Americas and regions along the Pacific Rim, and they became Indians in the Americas and Eastern Asia ethnic groups of the South Pacific. We all know that on account for our national superiority, during the thriving of the prosperous Tang dynasty, our civilization was the peak of the world. We were the center of the world's civilization, and no other civilization in the world was comparable to ours. Later on, because our complacency, narrow-mindedness, and self-enclosure to our own country, we were surpassed by Western civilization, and the center of the world shifted to the West. In reviewing history, one may ask, will the center of the world civilization shift back to China? Well, the Democratic Party here in the United States of America and other communist leaders around in Europe are absolutely helping in shifting it back to China by dealing with them instead of boycotting them. But they all have the same goal. They want a new world order, a liberal new world order. And liberalism is equal communism. Comrade Haotian put it in his report to the Central Committee in 1988. Can I say something else? Rothschild created Trotsky and Lenin to create the communist revolution in Russia. Just for your knowledge. So you know what this is about. It's communism. Oh, it's fascist. Trump is a fascist. It doesn't matter what people are. It's the same thing, meaning it's just one side of the same coin. Fascism leads to tyranny. Communism leads to tyranny. It's the same coin. Heads or tails, it doesn't matter. End result is the same. You suffer. So, if in fact that the center of leadership of the world was located in Europe as of the 18th century and later shifted to the United States in the mid-20th century, the center of leadership of the world was shifted to the east of our planet, and the east, of course, mainly refers to China. They're doing a damn good job with it over there. But in reality, we could just say, well, do your thing. We don't care. We don't have to deal with you. Go ahead. Whatever. America, Canada, and South America, they join forces. I don't want a North American Union, that crap. It's not what I mean. But we're self-sufficient. We don't need the East. We don't need them at all. They need us. We don't need them. So why are we just giving to them? Democrats. Why is that? Because you're communists. Actually, Comrade Louis Haotian made similar points in the 1980s. Based on a historic analysis, he pointed out that the center of world civilization is shifting. It shifted from the east to Western Europe and later to the United States, and now it's shifting back to the east. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Leave me the bloody alone. Okay? Your political and all your powers hungry lust. I don't care. Leave me alone. I don't want to have anything to do with you. You evil, stay away. So, therefore, if we refer to the 19th century as the British century and the 20th century as the American century, then the 31st century will be the Chinese century. Yeah. And God will strike you down. To understand the consensually this historical law and to greet the advent of the Chinese century in this historical mission of our party, as we all know, at the end of the last century we built the altar of this Chinese century in Beijing. Who cares? At the very moment of the arrival of the new millennium, the collective leadership of the party central committee gathered there for a rally upholding the torches of the Haotian to pledge themselves to get ready to greet the arrival of the Chinese century. We are doing this to follow the historical law and setting the realization of the Chinese century as a goal of our party's endeavor. Yeah, total dominance and total tyranny. Yeah, have your fun. Later, the political report of our party's 16th National Congress, we established a national revitalization that should be our great objective, and explicitly specified in our new party constitution that our party is the pioneer of the Chinese people. No, you're not. You're pioneers for yourself and your lust. The Chinese people don't have a saying. You've been stepping on their freaking head with a boot for 80 years. So don't come and tell me that it's for the people. All these steps marked a major development in Marxism. Yep, there we go, communism, reflecting our party's courage and wisdom. You don't have any wisdom you once had. Now, you are exactly what you are, simple-minded. Where China before you, communist, was plural-minded. It was beautiful. Beautiful. China now, not so much. As we all know, Marx and his followers has never referred to any communist party as a pioneer of certain people. Neither did they say that national revitalization could be used as a slogan for the Communist Party. Even Comrade Mao Zedong, a courageous national hero, no, courageous, stupid, only raised high the banner of the global proletarian revolution. But even he did not have the courage to give the loudest publicity to the slogan of the national revitalization. We must greet the arrival of the Chinese century by raising high the banner of national realization. How we fight for this realization of the Chinese century. We must borrow the precious experiences in human history by taking advantage of the outstanding fruitions of human civilization and drawing lessons from what happened to other ethnic groups. The lessons include the collapse of communism in the former Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, as well as the defeats of Germany and Japan in the past. Recently, there has been much discussion of the lessons of the collapse of communism in the former Soviet Union and Eastern Europe countries, so I will not dwell on them here. Today, I would like to talk about the lessons of Germany and Japan. As we all know, Nazi Germany, who placed much emphasis on the education of the people, especially the younger generation. The Nazi Party and the government organized and established various propaganda and educational institutions such as the Guiding Bureau of National Propaganda, Department of National Education and Propaganda, Supervising Bureau of Worldview Study and Education, and the Information Office. All aimed at the instilling into the people's mind from elementary school to colleges, that idea that German people are superior and convincing people that the historical mission of the Aryan race is to become the lords of the earth, whose right it is to rule over the world. Back then in Germany, people were much more united than we are today. Nonetheless, Germany was defeated in utter shame, along with its ally Japan. Why? We reached some conclusion at the study meeting with the Politburo, in which we were searching for the laws that govern the vicissitudes of the big, what the heck is that word? Never seen it before. I can't even pronounce it. I need to hear it first. Of the big powers, and trying to analyze Germany and Japan's rapid growth. When we decide to revitalize based on the German model, we must not repeat the mistakes they made. Specifically, the following are fundamental causes for their defeat. First, they had so many enemies all at once that as they did not adhere to the principle of eliminating enemies one at a time. Second, they were too impetuous, lacking the patience and perseverance required for great accomplishments. Third, when the time came for them to be ruthless, they turned out to be too soft, therefore leaving troubles that resurface later on. Let's presume that back in Germany and Japan had been able to keep United States neutral and had fought to protracted war step by step on the Soviet front. If they have adopted this approach, gained some time to advance their research, eventually succeeded in obtaining the technology of nuclear weapons and missiles, and launched surprise attacks against United States and Soviet Union using them, then the United States and the Soviet Union would not have been able to defend themselves and would have to surrender. Little Japan in particular made egregious mistakes in launching a sneak attack on Pearl Harbor. This attack did not hit the vital parts of the United States. Instead, it dragged the United States into the war, into the ranks of gravediggers that eventually buried the German and the Japanese fascists. Well, I'm not so sure about Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. I'm more in the belief that that was an inside job in order to get America into the war. Because war for some people means a lot of money. And isn't that what Rockefeller and Rothschild is all about? Money. Yeah. Give me the wealth of a nation, and I care not who make their rules. That's Rothschild. Money. Of course, if they had not made these three mistakes and won the war, history would have been written in a different fashion. If that had been the case, China would not be in our hands. Japan might have relocated their capital to China and ruled over China. Afterwards, China and the whole of Asia under Japan's command would have brought into a full play of the Oriental wisdom, conquered the West, ruled by Germany, unified the whole world. This is irrelevant, of course. No more digressions. So the fundamental reason for the defeats of the German and Japan is that history will not arrange them to be lords of the earth, for they are, after all, not the most superior race. There's another word there, ostensibly. In comparison, today's China is alarmingly similar to German back then, both of them in regard to themselves as the most superior races. Both of them have history of being exploited by foreign powers and therefore vindictive. Both of them have a tradition of worshipping their own authorities. Both of them feel that they have serious insufficient living space. Both of them raise high to the banners of nationalism and socialism and label themselves as National Socialists, or socialism, which is communism in basics. Both of them worship one state, one party, one leader, one doctrine. Oh, does that sound familiar? And yet, if we really are to make a comparison between Germany and China, then, as Comrade Jiang Zemin put it, Germany belongs to pediatrics, too trivial to be compared. How large is Germany's population? How big is its territory? And how long is its history? We eliminated 8 million nationalist troops in only 3 years. How many enemies did Germany kill? They were in power for a transition period of little more than a dozen years before they perished. While we are still energetic after being around for some more than 80 years. Our theory of shifting center of civilization is of course more profound than Hitler's theory of the Lord of the Earth. Our civilization is profound and broad, which has determined that we are so much wiser than they were. No, you're just power hungry, that's it. You're not wiser, you're just power hungry. Our Chinese people are wiser than the Germans because fundamentally our race is superior to theirs. There we go again. Oh man. Oh, the Germans are not, but we are. Oh, we're not. Oh, okay. The South Americans are. Oh no. And it can go on. More people and larger land area. On this basis, our ancestors left us with two most essential heritages, which is atheism and great unity. It was Confucius, the founder of the Chinese culture, who gave us these heritages. Yeah, Confucian. This heritage determined that we have stronger ability to survive than the West. That's why the Chinese race has been able to prosper for so long. We are destined not to be buried by either heaven or earth, no matter how severe the natural or man-made natural disasters. This is our advantage. Don't worry, you are going to get your reward, China. That reward is death. Not by me, but God Almighty. He is going to take care of you. Count on it. Take response to war as an example. The reason that the United States remains today as it is had never seen in our war on its mainland. Once its enemies aim at the mainland, these enemies would reach Washington before its Congress finished debating and authorizes the presidents to declare war. But for us, we don't waste time on these trivial things. Comrade Deng Xiaoping once said, the party leadership is prompt in making decisions. Once a decision is made, it is immediately implemented. There is no wasting time on trivial things like capitalist countries. This is our advantage. Yeah, unfortunately it is. Too much talk when the enemy is knocking on your door. No, lock and load, shoot. That should be the thing, and that's exactly what China has always been doing. That's one kudo on that part. Give you kudo for that. There's no wasting time on trivial things like in the capitalist countries. This is our advantage. Our party's democratic centralism. Democratic has no democracy in bloody China. What the hell are you talking about, you idiot? It's built on a tradition of great unity, although fascist Germany also stressed high-level centralism. They only focused on power of the top leader, but ignored the collective leadership of the central group. That's why Hitler was betrayed by many later in his life, which fundamentally depleted the Nazis of their war capacity. What makes us different from Germany is that we are complete atheists. While Germany was primarily Catholic and Protestant countries, Hitler was only half atheist. Although Hitler also believed that the ordinary citizen had low intelligence and that leaders should be therefore making the decision, and although German people worshipped Hitler back then, Germany did not have the tradition of worshipping sages on broad basis. Our Chinese society has always worshipped sages, and that's because we don't worship any god. Once you worship a god, you can't worship a person at the same time. You're not supposed to, you dumbass. Unless you recognize the person as the god representative like they did in the Middle Eastern countries. Yeah, exactly. You know what religion that entails. It's a religion that sprung up in the year 620 AD, and it's not looking pretty. And it never was pretty. On the other hand, once you recognize a person as a sage, of course you will want him to be your leader. This is the foundation of our democratic centralism. It's democratic again. Oh, it's so funny. The bottom line is, only China is reliable force in resisting the Western parliament-based democratic systems. Hitler's dictatorship in Germany was perhaps but a momentary mistake in history. Maybe you have now come to understand why we recently decided to further promulgate atheism. If we let theology from the West into China and empty us from the inside, if we let all Chinese people listen to God and follow God, who will obediently listen to us and follow us? And that's exactly. You want them to follow you by dictate, by the barrel of a gun. That don't make you a leader. That makes you a tyrant. Tyranny is not leadership anywhere. So, if the common people don't believe Comrade Hu Jintao is a qualified leader, question his authority, and want to monitor him, if the religious followers in our society question why we are leaving God in churches, Can our party continue to rule China? No, of course not, and you're not supposed to. Okay? Because you're not ruling the country, you're destroying your country. Get that through your head. Germany's dream to be the Lord of the Earth failed because ultimately history did not bestow this great mission upon them. No, God did not allow that. But the three lessons Germany learned from the experience are that we ought to remember as we complete our historic mission and revitalize our race. The three lessons are: firmly grasp the country living space, firmly grasp the party's control over the nation, and firmly grasp the general direction towards becoming the Lord of the Earth. You know better than the Germans and the Japanese. But it's okay you do it because it's all about you, isn't it? Next, I would like to address these three issues. The first issue is living space. This is the biggest focus of revitalization of the Chinese race. Oh, the Chinese. Cut the race word. I'm not going to use it again. In my last speech, I said that the fight over basic living resources, including land and ocean, is the source of a vast majority of wars in history. This may change the information age, but not fundamentally. Our per capita resources are much less than those of Germany back then. In addition, economic development in the last 20 plus years have had a negative impact, and climates are rapidly changing for the worse. Our resources are in very short supply. The environment is severely polluted, especially that of soil, water, and air. Not only our ability to sustain and develop our people, but its survival is gravely threatened, to a degree much greater than faced by the German back then. Well, you like locusts. You deplete your own resources and then you stretch out and then you grab someone else's resources and kill anybody who stands in your way. And when you have succeeded in doing that, you filthy bastards in China, you are going to destroy the land there too, like you did back in China. It's the snake biting its own tail. You haven't learned from your first mistake by destroying your own country. Now you're going to go over somewhere else and destroy their country and their way of life, and ultimately completely destroy the country, its environment. Duh. Where's the logic in that? You are locusts. Period. Communism is localism. Locust. That's what you are. Locusts. Oh, there's no more food here on this field. Let's move over to the neighbor's field. Eat that up. Oh, it's empty. Let's eat the next one up. That's how you operate. How are you going to sustain the world? Let's just say, China, you get the entire world at your disposal to do whatever you like to, like you're doing in your own country. You will end up killing yourself off forever because you will destroy all resources everywhere you set your foot. So there will be absolutely nothing left for you, and you will starve to death. And the air you breathe will be toxic. The water you drink will be toxic. The soil will be so acidic that nothing can grow in it, and you will starve to death. That's exactly what you say right there. You can't even see that. But that's exactly what you say right there. Wow. Are we dealing with China? Gosh, they're going to destroy this planet. It's not the Western world that is doing it, it's China. He just said it there. Anybody who has been in the Western countries know that their living space is much better than ours. And they have forest alongside the highways, while we have hardly any trees but by our streets. Their skies often blue with white clouds, while our sky is covered by a layer of dark haze. Yeah, their tap water is clean enough for drinking, while even our groundwater is so polluted that it can't be drunk without filtering. They have a few people in the streets, and 2 or 3 people can occupy a small resident building. In contrast, our streets are always crawling with people, and several people have to share one room. Why don't you just freaking make your factories less polluting? Why are you putting all the wastewater out in the aquifers so the water needs treatment? And why are you packing people instead of spreading out in what you already have? Again, you're going to do the exact same thing wherever you go. It's going to end up the same because you can't see the forest for the trees. You just can't. You're already proving it right here in these 2 chapters here. You just can't do it. You won't survive. You are on a suicide mission, China. And you can't see it because your lust for power supersedes any rational thinking. It's not the way to do it. It's suicide. So, third article, third chapter, I guess, in this little segment. Many years ago, there was a book titled Yellow Catastrophes. It said that due to our following the American style of consumption, our limited resources would not long support the population of society would collapse. Once our population reaches 1.3 billion, now our population has already exceeded this limit, and we are now relying on imports to sustain our nation. It's not that we haven't paid attention to this issue. The Ministry of Land Resources is specialized in this issue. China, we did not ask you to assimilate or following the American style of consumption. In fact, we didn't ask you to do a damn thing. You did it by your own. We didn't tell you to. We didn't encourage you to. You all have been standing alone because you think you are the rulers of this planet, or the rightful rulers of this planet, the Lord of the earth. Yeah. You're the Lord of your own suicide. That's what you are. But the term living space, Lebensraum, is too closely related to Nazi Germany. The reason we don't want to discuss this too openly is to avoid the West association with us as Nazi Germany. Oh, are you just like the Nazis? Interesting. Yeah, National Socialism and Communism is the same. It's tyranny. Which could in turn reinforce the view that China is a threat. You are a threat to your own nation and to the entire world's environment. Therefore, our emphasis on the Haotian new theory, human rights are just living rights. We only talk about living, but not space. So to avoid using the term living space from the perspective of history, the reason that China is faced with its issue of living space is because the Western countries established colonies ahead of the Eastern countries. Western countries established colonies all around the world, therefore giving themselves an advantage on the issue of living space. To solve this problem, we must lead the Chinese people outside China so that they could develop outside China. I don't care what you do. We should all be able to live together, but your idea about living outside China or develop outside China, that is to take over with military force. It's not you going to ask people in the country you're going to, Can we do this? Can we do that? No. You're going to kill them first and then you're going to ask them. That's how you operate. Another suicide. The second issue of our focus on the leadership capacity of the ruling party. We have done better on this than their party. Although the Nazis spread their power to every aspect of the German national governments, they did not stress their absolute leadership position like we have. We did not take the issue of managing the power of the party as first priority, which we have. When Comrade Mao Zedong summarized the three treasures of our party's victory in conquering the country, he considered the most important treasure to be developing the Chinese Communist Party and strengthening its leadership position. You are not leaders. You are tyrants. We have to focus on the 2 points of fortify our leadership, to fortify our tyranny position, to improve our leadership capacity. The first is to promote the free represents theory, stressing that our party is the pioneer of the Chinese, in addition to being the pioneer of the proletariat. Many citizens say in private, we never voted for you, the Communist Party, to represent us. How can you claim to be our representatives? Yeah, exactly. There is no need to worry about this issue. Comrade Mao Zedong said, if we could lead by tyranny the Chinese people outside of China, resolving the lack of living space in China, the Chinese people will support us. At that time, we don't have to worry about the labels of totalitarianism or dictatorship. Oh, of course not. People know you are. Whether we can forever represent the Chinese people depends on whether we can succeed in leading the Chinese people out of China. The second point, whether we can lead the Chinese people out of China, is the most important determinant of the CCP leadership or tyranny position. Why do I say that? Everyone knows that without tyranny, our party, China, would not exist today. Therefore, our highest principle is to forever protect our tyrannical party's position. Before June 4th, we realized vaguely that as long as China's economy is developed, people would support and love the Communist Party. Therefore, we had to use several decades of peacetime to develop China's economy, no matter what isms. Whether that is a white cat or black, it is a good cat. If we can develop China's economy, but at that time we did not have mature ideas about how China would deal with the international disputes after its economy becomes developed. Comrade Xiaoping said that the main themes in the world were peace and development. But the June 4th riot gave our party a warning and gave us a lesson that is still fresh. The pressure of China's peaceful evolution? What the hell is that? Oh, it's that Darwinism word. Makes us reconsider of the two main themes of our time. We see that neither of these two issues, peace and development, has been resolved. The Western oppositional forces always change the world according to their own wisdoms. They want to change China and use peaceful evolution to overturn the leadership of the the tyrants of our Communist Party. Therefore, if we only develop economy, we will still face the possibility of losing control. Oh, it's all about power. Oh, you want to have power. Oh, it's so important. I know. The June 4th riot, almost succeeding in bringing a peaceful transition. If it were not for the fact that the large numbers of veteran comrades were still alive and the crucial moment they removed Zhao Jiang and his followers, then we would all been put in prison. After that, we would have been put to shame to report to Marx. You wouldn't see him, clowns. Although we have passed the test of June 4th. After our group of senior comrades passed away without our control, peaceful evolution may still come to China like it did to the former Soviet Union. In 1956, they suppressed the Hungarian incident and defeated the attacks by Tito's revisionists in Yugoslavia. But they could not withstand Gorbachev's 30-some years later. Once those pioneering senior comrades died, the power of the Communist Party was taken away by peaceful evolution. After the June 4th riot was suppressed, we have been thinking about how to prevent China from peaceful evolution and how to maintain the Communist Party's dictatorship. We fought it over and over, but it not come up with any good ideas. If we do not have any good ideas, China will inevitably change peacefully and we will become criminals in history. Oh, you already know that you are criminals. Wow, you already know. Wow, you're not all that blind, I guess. After some deep pondering, we finally come to this conclusion. Only by turning our developed nation's strength into a force of a first striking outward. Oh, invasion? Only by leading people to go out can we win forever the Chinese people's support and love for the Communist Party. Our party will then stand on invincible ground, and the Chinese people will have to depend. Oh, there it is again, like they want over here in America. They want you to depend on the government. Well, the government works for us. We don't work for them, so we are not dependent on them. We're self-sufficient. Our Constitution ensures that. Get that through your head, America, before it's too late. See what's going on already, this inflation. That is not Putin's fault. That is communism's fault. That's the New World Order who's orchestrating that. Stop it. They will forever follow the Communist Party and their hearts and minds as written in a couple of frequently seen in the countryside some years ago. Listen to the chairman Mao. Follow the Communist Party. Therefore, the June 4th riot made us realize that we must combine economic development with preparations for war and leading the people to go out. Therefore, since our national defense policy has taken a 180-degree turn, and we have since emphasized more and more combining peace and war. There's no combination there. Where do you get that from, you freaks? What the hell? You can't say that. There's a contradiction in terms right there. Peace and war. Combining them? Duh. You see, communism is sick. Our economic development is all about preparing for its need of war. There you go. Just as I said. Publicly, we still emphasize economic development as our center. But in reality, economic development has war as its center. I already knew that. We have made tremendous effort in constructed Great Wall Project to build up along our coastal land frontiers as well as around large medium-sized cities, a solid underground Great Wall that can withstand a nuclear war. We are also storing all necessary war materials. Therefore, we will not hesitate to fight a third world war. So to lead the people to go out and ensure the party's dictatorship position, in any event, we, the CCP, will never step down from the stage of history. We'd rather have the whole world, or even the entire globe, share life and death with us than step down from the stage of history. Isn't there a nuclear bondage theory? It means that since nuclear weapons have bound the security of the entire world and will die together if death is inevitable, in my view, there is another kind of bondage, and that is the fate of our party is tied up that the whole world, if the CCP is finished, China will be finished, and the world will be finished. Now, that's an interesting statement. The world will be finished. Will it be like this? China faces defeat worldwide. And what does China do in retaliation of their defeat? They're launching all their nuclear warheads and killing everybody on the planet, even themselves. Is that it? That's freaking what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Right there. If the CCP are finished, China will be finished and the whole world will be finished. He's saying it right there. He's going to kill the whole world if China don't get to be the lord of the world. Right there. I don't care how he wraps it in fancy words. That's exactly what he's saying. We lose, we all lose. The whole world loses. That's what he's saying. Without saying it. But I'm a little too smart to just be fooled by the rhetoric. You're evil, China, period. Not the people, but you who think you're leaders. You're not leaders, you're tyrants. A leader leads the people, leads them into prosperity. Not by the sword, but by wisdom, smartness, negotiations, trade deals. That's how you win. That's how you do it. Talk to other countries. Hey, we got some stuff here that we know you need, and you got some stuff there that we need. Can we trade with each other like people have done for thousands of years without any skirmish? But China don't want that. They just want to take, take, take. And if they give anything back, you have to pay dearly for it. That's the Chinese way, or the communist way. Our party historical mission is to lead the Chinese people to go out. If we take the long view, you will see that history led us on this path. First, China's long history has resulted in the world's largest population. So what? Does that give you the right to rule the world because you are the largest population on the planet? No. But you think so? Including Chinese in China as well as overseas. Second, once we open our doors, the profit-seeking Western capitalists will invest capital and technology in China to assist our development, so they can occupy the biggest market in the world. Third, our numerous overseas Chinese help us create the most favorable environment for the introduction of a foreign capital, foreign technology, and advanced experience into China. Thus, it is guaranteed that our reform and our open door policy will achieve tremendous success. Fourth, China's great economic expansion will inevitably lead to the shrinkage of per capita living space for the Chinese people, and this will encourage China to turn outward in search for new living space. Fifth, China's great economic expansion will inevitably come with significant development in our military forces, creating conditions for our expansion overseas. Oh, okay, war again. They're not going to come and ask, they're just going to come and take. Because they think they have the right to do so. We are the largest population on the planet. And because of that, we have the right to take your country from you. That is the Chinese way. What is the third issue we should hold clenched firmly in order to accomplish our historical mission of national renaissance? It is to hold firmly onto the big issue of America. Here we go. That's the hot potato. This appears to be shocking, but the logic is actually very simple. Comrade Haotian put forward a very fundamental judgment that is very reasonable. He asserted in his report that the Party Central Committee, the renaissance of China is fundamental conflict with the Western strategy interest, and therefore will inevitably be obstructed by the Western countries doing everything they can, so only breaking the blockades formed by the Western countries headed by the United States can China grow and move towards the world. Would the United States allow us to go out and gain new living space? First, if the United States is firm in blocking us, it is hard for us to do anything significant to Taiwan, Vietnam, India, or even Japan. So, how much more living space can we get? Very trivial. Only countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia have vast land to serve our need for mass colonization. Ooh, there we go. The locust is on. They're on the move. Chinese Communist Party is the definition of localism, locustlism. That's what you are, you locusts. Therefore, solving the issue of America is the key to solving all other issues. First, this makes it possible for us to have many people migrate there and even establish other China under the leadership or dictatorship of the CCP. America was originally discovered by the ancestors of the yellow race. Yeah, you keep to that. You keep to that. Whatever. But Columbus gave credit to the white race. I'm so tired of listening to this race crap. God created mankind. We, the descendant of the Chinese nation, are entitled to the possession of the land. There you go. There you go. They think they are entitled. A little handful of pesky, evil people in China think that they have the right to take America. Entitled. And these stupid people has only been around for 80 years and now they think they are entitled. Dear people of America, next time you go shop, anything that says made in China, anything that says made in PRC, leave it on the shelf, don't buy it. We can crush them financially by not buying their freaking crap. We're just designed to break, so you have to go out and buy some new. Stop buying anything made in China. Made in PRC, the People's Republic of China. People's Republic? The people have no saying in China. None. So it's not the People's Republic. It never was. It is the communist dictatorship of China, not the people. We, the descendant of the Chinese people, are entitled to the possession of the land. I read that again for the fun of it. Just listen to that. Delusion of grandeur. It is said that the residents of the yellow race has very low social status in the United States. We need to liberate them. Second, after solving the issue of America, the Western countries of Europe would bow to us. not to mention Taiwan, Japan, and other small countries. Therefore, solving the issue of America is the mission assigned to the CCP members by history. There you go. America, I'm warning you, they are coming. They have already set their sights on us. And these bastards, these evil people, are not going to stand down. They are coming. He says it right there. Entitled to the possession of the land. Let me say it again. Entitled to the possession of the land. He's saying he's going to take on America. Right there. No dispute. There should be a clear warning, America. Clear warning to you. They are coming. Get your house in order. They are coming. Period. He said it right there. He said some other things earlier too. About moving on like locusts. Expanding because they have depleted their own resources. Destroyed their own land. So they have to seek new land that they can destroy. Until they seek new land that they can again destroy. Right? And if they can't win that fight, they're going to destroy the whole world. You see what we're dealing with here? Insanity. Absolute insanity. These people should be locked up forever. In a freaking cell with no roof, no windows. In utter darkness until they freaking die. I don't care. I got no sympathy for this kind of rhetoric. I can forgive them, but not without punishment. Sorry, I can't do that. They got to freaking pay for what they're doing, or intend to do. That's where I stand, but I can still forgive them for being absolutely insane. But they cannot ever be on the streets. They can't be amongst people. That's why I'm at on that. I'm going to pause it here and return to the rest of it because my wife is done doing her evening bath and now we are going to have a good time. So I will return with the rest here in shortly. You won't notice it because I'm going to pause it.